I'm the Crypto Pickle. You're listening to earWAX, episode 2 here, Nifty Wizards, with my host, Cody from KVR. Hope you guys enjoy. Today we have Kurt from Nifty Wizards. What's going on?
Hello?
My friend here, Cody from KVR.
So are we live now, boys, or what?
Oh yeah, we're live, but we're not going on YouTube live right now. I'm going to edit a little bit after, so.
No worries. Doesn't matter.
All right, first question. Just tell us a little bit of how you got into crypto. I'm sure you've told the story before, but
Yeah, the way I got into crypto was I was building a fiat-based micro-funding platform for like video challenges. Just think like maybe TikTok, like a micro-funding for TikTok videos. And one of our investors was Tim Draper, and Tim Draper had also invested in Coinbase right around that time. I think it was like late 2011, early 2012, and I got into Bitcoin through that. I was just looking through his portfolio, and I was like, "Wow, what's this crazy, uh, funny money shit?" And I was like, "This is cool." And then I just got into it, and at that time, I remember actually I didn't really see it as an investment, to be totally honest. I saw it more of like, I guess, kind of an investment. I didn't think it was going to make me rich or anything. I thought it was kind of like political, I guess would be the right way to describe it.
Magic Internet Money. Have you ever read The Internet of Money, the book?
Um,
Andreas
no,
Antonopoulos. He's the author, but super good.
I think I did read that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
super good.
a little piece of history actually with Andreas Antonopoulos. I organized his first ever talk in LA um, many years ago, and what I heard was that talk was one of his most popular first YouTube videos that helped him to become pretty popular. Me and a guy who Micah, who runs Gem here in LA too, it's a crypto wallet, organized that talk, and it was really great. It was like I felt like I was in some kind of like underground, uh, like political movement or something watching that shit.
Dude, yeah, I love his videos. He's like one of the ones that definitely inspired me to get into it. I just went down the rabbit hole from that guy pretty much.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. It took me a long time. Like I kept hearing about it, and then I finally, because for me, like I grew up in a way where like it wasn't so much. I sort of learned. I was learning my beliefs as I figured out crypto, so it was like at the same time. So I learned a whole bunch of stuff about how things work.
Nice. And Cody, I think I saw you on another video before. You mentioned Nifty Wizards. I think that was you, and thanks for that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm super interested to hear like what exactly it is because I saw your video with Anders, and it was fascinating to have a game through Telegram. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. Like if you look at early game history, like the idea of text-based games is kind of like for older people, and I'm like almost there. Like I'm 38, so um, the first games like that led into the first graphics games were text-based games where it might show you a message of like you're in a forest, like, and then a monster comes out of the trees or something. Like, what do you do? And so there's a little bit of that, but so it's an RPG. It's a role-playing game where you are a wizard, and there are multiple rooms inside Telegram. I think there's about 50 different rooms now that are Nifty Wizards game rooms. And the rooms do all kinds of different things, but Telegram has slash commands, and these slash commands are ways that you can use the NFTs that you buy on the market to kind of give you special powers. So we just released one called a fist, right? And so the fist allows you to do melee attacks on people. So like if you think someone's annoying, or if you want to fight against somebody in a group, if you're in Telegram, you can like punch them with the slash command, and then
Awesome.
you earn points, but you can only do it if you have like certain weapons. So there's like knives and swords. And so kind of fast forward a little bit to like where I believe it could be is that, like, think about Fortnite is it's a battle royale. It's a massive multiplayer game. And I'm just imagining people inside of a chat where they can attack each other, sort of like a massive online game, but where you're a wizard and you use your weapons and your powers are NFTs actually. They're in-game items. And part of the reason why I did that is because I started realizing like chats, like if you're I've been in the app business for a really long time, and one insight that maybe seems very obvious but I think is lost on a lot of people is like, what is the most popular thing that anybody does online, right? And like that might not be a quick answer for some people. It might not have been for me even maybe a year ago, I don't know, but like the answer is simple. It's chat. That's what people do. They chat. The Instagram, Telegram's at like 400 million people. Every app has DMs and messaging, and so I just sometimes when I'll build something, I'll be like, well, let's bring this thing to where people already are. It would be like, if you want to put a if you want to put an arcade game, like those old school arcade games where you put like coins in,
Yeah.
it's like, where do you place one, right? You don't put one in the middle of nowhere. You bring one into a bar or a casino or something where people already are. And so when I built this, I thought, one, I want it to be fun collectibles, which we have. We have a full set of collectibles. We're almost at 50 different types of collectibles. And a lot of them are based on emojis. That's kind of another unique concept. But the idea is that you bring that to where people are. And where they are is in chat communities, talking with each other. And there's hundreds and thousands of these kind of groups. And there's hundreds of millions of people doing it. So I thought if you can build around that, something to show fun collectibles that feels like a game, it's a great market to be in.
Definitely. It's like, I feel like there's unlimited potential pretty much.
So is that sort of what you mean when you say chat mining? I heard you mention chat mining, and that went over my head. I didn't understand that. Is that like a new form of consensus almost?
So chat mining is something that I'm pretty sure I invented. I don't know though. About 2 years ago with Morty's cryptocurrency, we built Morty's cryptocurrency. And the idea was that you have all these communities, right? And you have all these shit coins basically that aren't being used. They don't have any apps, but you have these communities that are really alive, right? Like you can have 10,000 people in a Telegram community talking about some token that might not even be launched. And so to me, that looked like a big opportunity. It's like a social thing for people, and they believe in some idea and some concept. And I just started thinking like, there's 1,000 of these shit coins, and there's tens of thousands of these. And I when I say shit coin, I mean it in an endearing way, because like I love all of this shit. I mean, like it's just, and so I saw an opportunity where like, why not just like the main thing that would be happening in these communities is there might be 10,000 active people that are really vested in this thing. They want to invest, but there's no product, right? And so I thought, what if these people who are putting all their time and energy into these communities were mining the tokens of those projects through chatting? Because what they're doing is adding value to that community and to that network. And so why not just connect the tokens directly into where they're at? So it's really a similar principle as what Nifty Wizards is. And so that's where chat mining kind of came about. And the idea is that if you're an admin of that group, you become a mine operator. So that might be like, I have an Ethereum miner right here on my floor, for example. Like I'm a miner, I'm a mine operator. That's my mine. But the difference between this kind of mining is that I could be in the middle of a third world country with a phone that I got for free. As long as Telegram is on there, I can mine that cryptocurrency. And so, and we have people in Africa that mine this currency. And the one that we're having to mine is called Dust, and it's short for Magic Dust. And so we created Magic Dust for the sole purpose of allowing people to mine it through chats. And now we're almost at 100 mine operators, and we've exceeded 1 million transactions, and we're doing auctions, and it's a pretty nice little niche ecosystem that we're trying to grow to games and really relate to NFTs.
Wow.
So if you weren't aware, Cody and I are actually part of the Block Crafters Wax Guild, and we were wondering what made you choose wax.
I just launched my guild yesterday, actually.
Oh, really? Nice.
Wizardsguild.one. You can check it out.
Will do.
And that's a wax guild. And I mean, the story is probably kind of long, but I mean, I helped with the EOS mainnet, and I have always been into EOS. I built on multiple EOS.io chains, and I think the reason why I wanted to go to Wax was because when we built Morty's, we really wanted to build role-playing cryptocurrencies. Like, from my point of view, cryptocurrencies aren't really much different, I guess, than like maybe action figures or something, where they give you the right to role play. And you know, there's different little cultures. Like, I think there's subcultures. I almost think of them as like fashion trends or something, where you know, you might be a comp guy, or you might be a Uniswap guy, or you might be an EOS guy, or whatever. Like, they're just these little cliques in the way that I see it. And I really wanted people to get deeper into that, like to explore that more, where you could be, you know, you can kind of become part of that clique by being involved in the currency. But then I thought, well, what if NFTs could represent more of that? And so a lot of it was inspired by Rick and Morty. Like, I don't know if you guys are into that show, but there's a character called Crumbopolis Michael, and like, so when we have these Telegram groups and we have these hundreds of people using Mortys, and they were like bribing each other and doing all this stuff, and like we kind of started playing roles. Like, I was evil Morty, and then different people would be different people, and we kind of started role playing just randomly. You know, it was like just happened naturally. And then we thought, well, wouldn't it be amazing if the guy who wants to be Crumbopolis Michael, who's like the hitman, right? Wouldn't it be cool if he had an NFT that he owned that basically gave him a right to play that role, right? And then now we have a marketplace where we're essentially a business where we sell these things that are kind of like action figures. Like, and I have this kind of an insight that was helpful to me, where I thought, if I have a Donatello in my hand, because I was like into Ninja Turtles, right? Because like, G.I. Joe was kind of getting phased out when I was a little kid, and the other kids didn't want me to play G.I. Joes with them. So I was like, fuck it, I'll get into Ninja Turtles or whatever, right? But if I hold a Donatello, like, you got to think about, like, what does it mean that I have this Donatello? Like, why is it important in any way? And the insight for me is, I bought the Donatello, I hold it in my hand. It gives me the right to basically play that I'm Donatello. Like, I'm holding the Donatello. It's like, it seems really obvious, but I think it's actually pretty insightful that any action figure, when you hold it in your hand or when you have it on your wall, like, I like the Jon Snow doll. I don't have any of them because I'm not like that big of a collector, but if I had a Jon Snow doll, like, I might feel like I'm brave like Jon Snow, or I do these things that Jon Snow does that are cool. And I'm Donatello. I have a fucking bow, and I'm the smart computer dude, and you know, Michelangelo is this guy. Like, it gives you a right to do something. And so I started thinking, well, digital assets do the same thing. Like, if I had a Crumbopolis Michael, now I can do hits. So people could pay me in this currency to do like hits, to like kill the other players. And then I started thinking of, wouldn't it be neat if you took a cryptocurrency and you allowed it to be a secondary market for like assassinations in the game? So let's say I went to like Star Citizen, and I wanted somebody to just blow up somebody else's ship. That guy might have paid like $5,000 for a ship or more. I think people paid up to like $80,000 for their ships. But imagine you just fucking hate that guy, right? Or maybe you like him, but you just want to fuck with him. I don't know. So you would pay somebody in some currency to go and like blast this guy. It's like, and it's a game, so it's not like it's illegal or something like that, right? And then that's what kind of led into this whole idea of Wizards, because we don't own Crumbopolis Michael, and we don't own Ninja Turtles, and I just like the idea of NFTs giving you the right to role play something. And that's kind of what went to Nifty Wizards, because that's a brand that I created myself that I can own and I can sell endlessly.
Well, that's cool. Honestly, I look at NFTs a lot in the way that, because like crypto and blockchain is so multifaceted. There's so much that goes into it. There's so many different aspects to it. But the way I look at NFTs is they are what I think 90% of people are going to utilize in crypto. Because decentralized finance, obviously, there's a niche for that, and there's going to be people who make a lot of money in that. But I feel like the majority of people are going to, like you said, want to have something personal to them. And NFTs, I think, are going to become culture in a way that is so hard to predict. So it's cool to hear you talk about it and all the crazy different things that could possibly happen. Um, how long do you think, or do you feel like right now, Nifty Wizards is something that somebody with no interest in crypto could enjoy or get into relatively quickly?
Yeah, and that's kind of the point behind Dust cryptocurrency and behind what I'm building, because I built a lot of products that use wallets and kind of require some level of knowledge. And now I'm more interested in building. I mean, I still do build things that require a lot of knowledge. Like I do build on DeFi, on Ethereum, for example. But um, my belief is that if you're building a game or something that could be like more of a mass adoption product, it should be very either light touch on anything crypto. So all you actually need to play Nifty Wizards or to mine Dust is to click one button to get your cloud wallet. That's it. After you have your wallet address, I actually build my games around not needing to interact with a wallet. So like one example would be that Nifty Wizards has this concept of stacking and hoarding. So rather than, like, let's say you wanted to get a knife, right? You could own 20 knives and you can keep stacking knives. You could buy them, or maybe you mine them through gameplay or something like that. And it doesn't matter how many you have. The more you have, the better. And you don't have to transfer them. And that's why I think DeFi is as big as it is, because it's a way for you to earn and to use your cryptocurrency without spending it. It's a very novel thing if you think about it. Just imagine money being useful. I mean, it is useful without spending it, but I think that people kind of didn't predict that. And I remember when I was saying staking is a really big deal, a lot of the companies that are now like, hey, we're staking and that's all we do now, were telling me, oh, staking is stupid. Like nobody's going to understand that, but they're all doing it now because staking is amazing, because a lot of these guys want, how can you hold a cryptocurrency and spend it at the same time? It's weird. It's like, you don't want to do that with something you invested, right?
Right.
It doesn't make sense. So it's like you buy it and hold it. You can still use it without it leaving your wallet. That's amazing, right? So that's why staking is awesome. But yeah, I think that the simple answer is yes.
Yeah, it mimics the bank in that way. I always felt like staking was necessary because people with regular money put their money in a bank. Obviously, it wasn't always like that when gold was money and stuff like that. But nowadays, people are used to just having somebody else hold their money and stuff like that. So crypto is definitely a big step. But yeah, no, I think if you're willing to take that step, there's a lot of potential in DeFi.
Yeah, but just kind of back on that concept, it's a really important concept to me to build games and to build products that don't require you to be a genius in blockchains, because it's a very dense topic. I think it's not interesting, and I believe that Wizards could be the first game that's blockchain and that might incorporate NFTs very heavily, that could grow to a big audience. Like there's not a big difference between what I'm doing and what something like Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering is doing. I just brought a way for players to own their shit and trade it and sell it, and to technically, make investments and sell them. And that's not something you get with Dungeons and Dragons. You might get great friendships and stuff, but like when I do my gameplay, I don't own anything. And this is a fundamental problem with even things like Fortnite. And that's why I think it's going to grow into the mainstream, because after I earn some amazing skin, or maybe I even buy one, some other kid might want it. And right now you can't really sell it. And so that is a big concept. And I'm pretty sure that's going to go mainstream.
Yeah, definitely. In Nifty Wizards, have you seen anyone kind of trade NFTs? Like, is there scarce products and stuff like that?
In their what? In their scarce products?
Like, do you have any like scarce NFTs? Have you, like, the NFT market's pretty hot right now? Have you seen anybody like buy and sell just for profit?
Yeah, I think that we're fourth in sales on Atomic Hub, fourth or fifth, and we've done a few thousand USD in sales, and we do have rare items. One of the items that we have that's rare is a weed cloak, and so it's a cloak that a wizard can equip that allows them to mine more weed. Like we have a weed NFT, and we have unicorns, they're rare. We have weed cloaks that are rare, and a few other rare items. Some of them have infinite supplies, but people are kind of scared about infinite supplies, but I don't think it's an issue. But yeah, we definitely do have rare items for sure.
I was just about to ask you about. You mentioned the Magic Dust token. Is there any sort of specific tokenomics that go into that you want to highlight, or is it mostly just a mineable currency or creative? No cap.
So there is a total supply. There's a few notable things, like how do you earn it, I think is a notable thing in the tokenomics, which is essentially inflation. And the way that you do that is by either building a mine yourself and becoming a mine operator. Mine operators earn 1-to-1 dust. And then the people who chat earn 1 dust per message. And that's like one part. The other part is what we call gameplay mining, which is a game or any other small product, even if it's just a random idea, can get a stack of tokens if they apply. It's a short application. It's 1 paragraph long that you can say, this is what I want to do. And we send out about 100,000. But also we want to work with games and exchanges that whenever something happens, like we have some things in the pipe already, I think 3 pretty big games. What happens is that, like, let's say it's a game where I blast some aliens or something. Every time I kill an alien, I mine a little bit of dust. And so we're integrating it into games, and then we're also integrating it into exchanges. So if you went and bought or traded certain items in a specific way, you're also mining dust too. And then the tokenomics, and we're working on right now setting up some DAX. We just brought somebody onto the team that is going to work more on documentation, because I'm more of like a builder and I don't really like to stop to document stuff because I feel like it slows me down. But we have some great marketers, and we're partnered with Bad Crypto guys, the Joel and Travis, and we have some other guys from Blockchain Heroes that are on our team actually. And we have Big Mike on our team too. And so just, they're going to be working on documenting. I'm going to be working on building. The tokenomics are pretty loose for now, but the idea is that you earn it through mining and interacting with the ecosystem. And this is actually pretty unique, because this isn't what these other tokens are doing. Like I don't earn wax for every transaction that my game does on a smart contract, right? Like that's not the way that it works, but I believe that that's the way a currency should work. The currency should be mined by people who are bringing value to the network. That's my belief behind Dust.
That's interesting. Have you noticed that the supply is more decentralized that way, or is that something? Because I agree with you. I think a currency should be issued to people in a more fair way, and that's decentralized is something that's very important for any currency.
Well, I'll tell you guys a secret. Like, imagine 1 million kids came to play a game on earWAX tomorrow. Okay. Now imagine that game. You need to buy a sword, right? So, you think all these kids are gonna hop on an exchange and buy earWAX?
Nope.
So they can get a sword? Like, I don't know if anybody thought this through very clearly, but Dust actually solves this problem. It's a huge problem. And actually, this is the reason why dApps exist, why a dApp includes a token and an application. It's not just an application.
Nice.
And the reason why is because all those million kids that arguably shouldn't be going onto exchanges and buying questionable assets, but when they come to play Nifty Wizards or some other game that could just do the same thing I'm doing, all they have to do is click one button to get a wallet and send one message in Telegram, and now they have Dust, for example. And that Dust could be used to buy an item. It might not be the most expensive item, and yeah, maybe later they need to get wax. But it solves a massive problem of, if you're a new person and you don't understand exchanges, you can get currency and be an active member on a blockchain and be actively engaging with smart contracts and spending cryptocurrency with having very little knowledge of blockchains. And so it solves this problem, actually.
Yeah, that's huge. You speak about a million kids coming on to play. If your game gets big enough, do you think you can make physical cards someday, or are you sticking with digital?
There's guys that are playing Wizards right now that want to do cards, and so I just told them, I said, hey, if you guys have really good ideas for cards, like, we can make them, and you guys can just do, like, you guys can just take some of the money from it, because I don't really know. I'm not a big card game player. Like, that's what's kind of funny about all this stuff is, like, I don't play these kind of. I've never played a role playing game before. I don't think. And I don't really play card games. Like, haven't played like these Pokemon card games. But I sort of like when I don't have that much knowledge of something, because I feel like I discover things that, and I'm able to do some things that you might not do if you had all this knowledge about it. I love going into some new territory where, like, I can kind of create something that might be better even, you know.
Can you talk to us about the collector bot and how that works?
Yeah, so Collectabot is, it started as a Wizards bot where it shows you your inventory of all the items that you own for Wizards, Nifty Wizards first. But I quickly realized it's just like Dust. I built Dust for Nifty Wizards too, but then I realized, like, this solves my problem, but it can solve other people's problem. And so Collectabot is a way for me to allow collectors to show off their collections in a beautiful way where the discussions are happening. So right now it works for Nifty Wizards, and I've started adding support for other collections. Like, I want to start with big collections. But imagine you're in a chat and someone says, hey, does somebody have an atom bomb of this kind? And somebody who's in that Telegram chat, because they sync with the Collectabot, that syncs with their wallet, and they can easily show their inventories right there in the chat without having to go to some site or send a URL to their profile, and then you have to sift through all their 10 collections to find shit. Collectabot is a portfolio tool, really. It allows you to see your NFT and your digital collectible assets in places like Telegram, Discord, anywhere, Slack, maybe Twitter. For now, it's Telegram, and it's only for Wizards, but I'm going to expand it to 3 or 4 sets within the next 2 months, I would say.
Yeah, that's interesting. I know probably for your game, especially, like, IBC is that something that you plan on using to go to different chains, or is it like right now you're mostly just focused on wax?
Yeah, I plan to go other places. I feel like a lot of the IBC stuff is just a little too early. But that's never really scared me before. I tend to do things a little bit earlier, just because I get excited about them and I don't really want to wait. But I think that there's a lot of interesting things coming about. Like, for example, all the money's over on Ethereum. And so it's becoming a little bit more appealing to maybe even launch a product on Ethereum and then allow those assets to be wrapped and traded on Wax for smaller fees. And then once you do that, now you can kind of, like, that's the main one that I'm looking at right now, is being able to take advantage of all the money that's on Ethereum, but then be able to also take advantage of other blockchains like Wax that have small fees. So, like, wrapped Ethereum NFTs are very interesting, and I know some people are working on that. And even DeFi, like Meme, I think is very interesting, where you have Ethereum-based contracts and Ethereum-based finance, and I'm seeing that those two are going to connect. I don't know how yet, but I can imagine that you might build a really expensive or valuable or hot asset that, like, imagine, because like some of it is like rare art, so there might be one buyer who buys that and then like call it a day, right? But something like CryptoKitties, where it might be like you're siring and then you're trading and you're farming and doing all this stuff, you might want the core asset to be Ethereum because there's some integrity behind that. But you might want to have your marketplace where you're doing all the trades somewhere where your users can trade them all day long if they want to, because now you're earning fees, whereas you're not going to be earning major fees if people have to pay gas and all of this shit. So it's sort of like moving, it would be like taking Bentleys and moving them over to like a Honda dealership so you can slang them like Hondas, but you still have a Bentley at the end of the day, I guess, would be the way to describe it.
Have you ever thought about submitting your project to the Wax Lab for funds?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether I should say it, but they already approved something of mine, but I don't know if I should say it because it's not like official, but maybe it doesn't matter. So
yeah, I'm not sure.
I did, yeah, and I've worked with them, and I've been to their offices. I know them very well, and yeah, like Collectabot is definitely going to be a very nice product here very soon, and that's something that I focused a lot of attention on, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity there, basically. And I'm really excited about it. Like, I want to be able, like, I like to be able to show off my collections. Like, the way that I describe it to people is like, I used to play Pogs when I was a kid.
Yeah, I had some of those too.
Did you guys played them?
Oh yeah, I had the Slammer.
Yeah. And so one of the things that was cool about Pogs was that, like, you have this like shiny, like transparent, colorful case where you're just always, showing off showing off your stack, basically.
Right.
That's like and I didn't understand it when I was a kid, but like if you think about it from a product development standpoint, the fact that all these kids are flashing their stacks everywhere is such a great marketing.
It's true.
It's such great marketing. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And so that's kind of like, to me, Collectabot is really a Pog case that you can flash to other people.
Yeah.
All right. So, sort of a fun question: what's a company that you think moving onto the blockchain and could utilize NFTs really well? Like, if you could pick a company and say, "Hey, come build a blockchain product," or integrate your game to the blockchain, who would you pick?
Yeah, like, there's actually a lot of them. I would be mostly excited by a big like battle royale game, and that's kind of what Nifty Wizards. I want to build battle royales in chat, and so something like Fortnite, I think, would be really amazing. And I think it's a little too early for that, but I would love to see, personally, I would love to see Ninja Turtles. I would collect the fuck out of all of those for sure. Like, don't get me wrong, GPK is cool, and I did collect those when I was a kid.
I'm wondering, because I had never heard of GPK before WAX.
Yeah.
I saw them on Pawn Stars once.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
Yeah, you must be younger than me.
And all that stuff. So like Star Trek, I remember that.
I had Pokemon cards, but GPK was right like before. I think I'm 28, so GPK was like right before my time, I think.
Yeah. I remember I was pretty young, but like, they were stickers and you could peel them off and then you could stick them on the wall, and that's what we would do. And it was kind of like, the more you used them, in a way, the more the rare they became for collectors. So it was like, it's sort of like, do you rip the box open and play with the action figure, or do you keep it in the box and put it on a shelf? And it was a really hard decision to make as a kid because, well, you just tore them apart when you were a kid. You didn't want to like rip them open. I mean, you didn't want to collect them really. So
yeah.
I would say, I think there's some other obscure titles that I would love to see too. Like, I saw that Dune has action figures, the new Dune, and that is really exciting to me. I mean, I would love to see that on NFTs or any kind of like sci-fi stuff. I would love to see Star Wars would be amazing. Um, I think that there's a little kind of like side point I'd make about being excited about bringing these collections. I would hope that they have gaming functionality, because the fact that they're like, when you use an action figure, like kids can play together, they play. It's a gameplay. It's role playing gameplay. Like I'm Luke Skywalker and you're Darth Vader. Like you're evil and then we're like fighting against each other. And so to me, if these sets are kind of like cards, that makes sense, but they could also be action figures where you play them against each other. And that is what I think is going to be really exciting. And I hope comes to some of the sets. I mean, dude, there's so many sets I could name though. Like, you know, I don't even want to say, because some of these companies I actually talk to, so I don't want to like blow them up, but like there's a lot. Like I would love to see Hello Kitty and just all these iconic brands come, but like it's a little early, you know, like I feel like 30 and 40-year-old men are really into this industry, and like we got to figure out a way to get it. Like what's going to make a kid get into this shit, I think is like the billion-dollar question here.
You know, when I was a kid, I used to play Need for Speed. I don't know if you guys ever played that game, but I didn't even like to race. I like to design the cars. So I would spend hours designing cars and putting the decals and changing the wheels and the tints and the everything.
Yeah.
And I just think like if I could have tokenized that and like sold it to somebody else, you know, like I feel like that's something that I could see a kid getting into and making a lot of money doing. You know what I mean?
100%. Like I actually built some like Formula One like car builders in the past in Flash. We used to build these kind of applications a lot. I think that there's a lot to that, and here's why. Because the guy that actually invented role-playing games, he actually invented the word well, he didn't invent the word avatar, but he's the one who popularized the term avatar. Like the reason why we use the word avatar is because of him. And avatars are all about customization, right? Like if you can build your own character, you feel like you're vested in the story more. It's like deeper role playing, and I think there is a lot of truth to that. If you can build your own car and then, you know, that's your NFT, you can customize it. Like this customization thing is a big deal actually, and I think that what you're talking about with cars is like spot on. Like the things that I'm hearing about in the industry, because like I'm a developer too, so like that's what's kind of cool when you're a dev. You get to talk to companies that are trying to do this next year or something like that.
Thanks for coming on. Where can people find you if you want to plug your Twitter or anything?
Yeah, my Twitter is at KurtyBot, KurtyBot.
All right, sounds good. I'm the Crypto Pickle, Law Crafters Wax Guild. See you later.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you. This episode was made possible by Block Crafters at blockcrafters.com. If you're still listening, be sure to tune in to our Garbage Pail Kids Series 2 giveaway this Wednesday. More details to come soon. Again, guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.